All right, so the Ashanti Regional Minister, he is coordinating affairs with the military hierarchy in the Ashanti region. So there have been a lot of military deployment to the scene who are currently going there. You know, the military also have their medical team. So their medical team is also working with the Ghana Ambulance Service, trying to convey the bodies. And the bodies have been conveyed from the area in Sachs to the charred bodies conveyed from the scene in Sachs to this place. The military has brought in some of their some rappers to at least wrap them, and we are told that there's going to be some rituals to be performed traditionally. You know, there's a river crossing here, and that is being done currently. 4 of the bodies have been here so far, and 4 more are being brought. So the military has gone there to use their sacks also to cover these bodies, which were put in cocoa sacks initially and brought here. So the military, the NADMO, the ambulance service, and other emergency service providers are all here trying to ensure that the bodies are transported. So ambulances are also stationed from the AGA, the Anglo Gold Hospital, from the Sikaman community. From the Sikaman community, you see ambulances parked there, and the bodies are going to be taken into these ambulances and transported. So this is what is happening currently. But for the scene, they are leaving the scene because they have taken the bodies out of the scene, and 4 have arrived so far here at a point where we are told there's going to be pouring of libation and other rituals by the traditional leaders and opinion leaders in the community before the bodies are transported. So we are waiting for the arrival of the other bodies before the ritual process can be performed.
Right. Hafiz, you mentioned that the bodies were earlier placed in cocoa sacks. Was this by eyewitnesses or passers-by? Who placed the bodies in the cocoa sacks? The 4 earlier retrieved. And what is the account of these persons?
Okay, so initially, because there was nothing to put, you know, this is a very remote area because there was nothing to put in them. So this were just an improvised methods, or these were improvised methods or things they could put the bodies in them before they wait for the military to bring the proper bagging to put the bodies there. So that has been put in the proper bagging brought in by the military medical team here, and that has been transferred into it. But because there was nothing to be put into it, it was just an interim measure and an improvised measure to bring the bodies to this place. So on their way, they met the military team who brought in these bags, and they have safely put them inside.
Well, we understand the emergency or the urgent situation regarding this matter, but did the military personnel on the grounds raise any concern regarding tampering or interfering with evidence based on the fact that the eyewitnesses had picked up bodies in cocoa sacks? Was there any concern raised regarding tampering of evidence?
Well, so, this has been a coordinated effort because the regional minister he's the head of the Regional Security Council, so per his directives, some of these things were done. And we didn't have a full complement of the military team there. That was why the regional minister also wanted the scene to be cleared in terms of the bodies. So you get a point that the time was also running out, and it's a thick forest, fearing that it shouldn't run into the night. If it runs into the night, there's no light here. Those arrangements about lightening the place has not been made, and it's a very thick forest and very dangerous walking through. And that was why they improvised with this. But the military were also in time. They came on time, and then they had to take over. So now they are taking over from the locals, but they are still working close with the locals, because the locals themselves who have heard this happened, and the farmers who had their farms so close to the area where the incident happened, still in shock, and they were also willing to help whatever help they can give, because this is their area, and they can also help, and they see people who are coming in due to this incident as strangers, so they offered to help and all that.
Now, have you been able to engage eyewitnesses, and what is their own account of what might have happened?
Well, for most of them, in the morning at about 10 a.m., while on their farms, they saw that the helicopter descended so low, and they don't see that as a case or usual. They saw that as unusual, because usually the helicopter is very high, and the limit or the distance to the forest for them was so intriguing and so surprising. And they said that, why? What happened? What is happening? So before that, they thought that the helicopter had gone. And later, some of the farmers heard this sound, and they had to rush to, and they found that this was happening, and they had to rush. Some of the farmers had to rush there, and because of the nature of the blast, they were also afraid that there could be further explosions. So some of them also had to run, and they waited for some time before even going back to look at the scene and see how the charred bodies were lying. Then they started placing calls to the assembly member for the area, who then redirected some of the calls to the new ADBRC police command. You know, that is very close here. They also placed the call to the Obuasi and also the Bekwai, the Ashanti South Divisional Police Command. Then they took it over from there. Then they also informed RECSEC. So fortunately for them, the Ashanti Regional Minister was at this event to launch this program. So the sacks have been carried through, just passing by. The 4 of the locals escorted by military and police, carrying the bodies to the Ada River. We are told is the next stream that the traditional authorities will be performing these rituals before they'll be allowed. They'll allow the bodies to be transported to wherever they'll be transported to, Nana.
Quite a sad one. But so what was the mood in the area? I mean, these unfortunate victims of this crash may not hail from the area, but for residents of the area to see such an accident of this magnitude, are they shaken in any way? What's the mood of the people there?
Well, I spoke to some farmers, and they say they have never seen this before. And this is so devastating, this is so shocking. And they say that if this had happened in the night, or if they had not heard the blast, then it would have been a different story altogether. Because, Nana, if you walk 2 hours from the Sikaman community through the hills, the mountains, in a thick cocoa forest and cassava plantation, and we are walking out of the place now, everyone who was there had to take a break, sit on some of the branches of trees, and also some of the stones there to take some rest before continuing, even with the Ashanti Regional Minister, who was leading members of the RECSEC. And so coming from Obuasi to Akofrom to the Sikaman area, people had come out of their houses hearing the news, though some of them had not been to the scene itself. And some of them had not been to. So what we hear in the background, Nana, is the direction being given to the bodies to be taken to the next stream, where we are told that some rituals are going to be performed here. So you see some of the locals helping carry the bodies on their heads and to the place, and it's so devastating. So coming from the Akrofrom or Boasi to Akrofrom area to the Sikaman community, people had come out of their homes, just standing devastated in a very shocking manner. Those most of them had not been to the scene, but they were so devastated hearing the news of the blast. And the blast, they also heard it because it was from a distance, and they say they heard the blast and it was so fearful, and they never had such a blast within the area. And the farmers who lived close were also afraid that this could explode and all that. So they were also careful in getting to the scene. So the area has been plunged into a state of mourning and grief, and people are so distraught about what has happened.
Earlier, you were painting us a picture of the crash site. I'm interested in finding out how accessible the crash site itself is, and if emergency response could have helped turn this unfortunate news into, giving us a glimmer of hope to hang on to, a thread of hope to hang on to.
Nana, the only emergency response was another helicopter that would have been able to maneuver through the thick forest. But talking of emergency response, like using a motorbike, it was not possible, not to even talk of a vehicle. So, like I said, a very thick cocoa forest, undulating nature of the road. You are ascending and descending mountains. Just feeling my voice so panting here.
Yes.
Descending the mountain here. So it was not so possible. It was never possible to even access the area using a vehicle or maybe a motorbike. So the only option is to walk. So all the vehicles, the ambulances, the land cruisers, the regional minister, the other vehicles they came in which had to park, and the only option to walk to the area.
So you park at the roadside and walk to the crash site. How long does this take you? How many minutes does this take you? So we can have an idea of the distance between.
Nana, it's about 2 hours because of the distance.
Walk up the hill?
Yes, 2 hours. Climbing the place.
Wow.
Climbing the place. And for those of us who were first timers, we didn't know the place. So most of the farmers who were then coming back farms were directing us. And some of them were really cautioning us. They were telling us that the journey is not easy. We can't go. So we defied those warnings and just wanted to go there, have a first hand information for our viewers and our audience.
This is quite shocking. The distance from the roadside to the crash site took you about 2 hours to make that journey on foot.
Yes, on foot.
Wow.
Nana.
Wow.
On foot. So, but for the farmers who, this has been a daily affair
they
for
are
them.
used
they
to
have
the
been
area.
Frequenting this area, so they never saw that to be a very long distance. Some of them were even laughing at us. They saw how some of us were struggling to climb the mountains and all that. So this was a big concern for them if they had not heard the blast, because farmers live or farm close to the crash site, but farmers do not ply their activities at the exact spot where the incident happened. So it was going to be very difficult for anyone to even notice that something like that had happened. If it was just the fire and the crash without the blast, it was the blast that prompted their attention to the place. If there was no blast, they wouldn't have been able to hear anything. And most of the farmers were also saying that if it happened in the night, then they didn't know what was going to happen. Then it was going to be a different story altogether.
Right. Did you have the luxury of the smoke from the blast to guide you towards the exact spot?
Okay, so that's where when you ascend close, very close to the crash site, so you see smoke billowing from the area, thick smoke billowing from the area. Then when you are going, you see you are seeing the parts of the helicopter, the debris scattered all over.
Right. Hafiz, are you able to give us an idea of what the weather looked like during the morning of today or even in the afternoon? Just to give us an idea or an impression of what might have happened. Were there clear skies? Was it raining? Was it sunny? What did it look like?
Well, it was drizzling all through the morning in Boamah and these areas. Even when we were coming, upon hearing this, some vehicles, including the fire service truck, the fire tender, had to got stuck in the way because of the muddy nature of the road. So it drizzled from morning to about 10, where the clouds started disappearing. Then there was sunshine.
Very well. Well, Hafiz, thank you so much. We'll come back to you for some more updates. Hafiz Tijani is coming to us from Sikaman, the village or community